Dr. Peter Glidden, welcome to Fire Your MD Now. Check me out on the web all of the time, everywhere, all of the time. FireYourMDNow.com. That's FireYourMDNow.com. If you can't remember that, then you need more vitamins, baby. If you can't, just do a Google search for Dr. Glidden, Dr. Peter Glidden. I always come up number one, and I have risen in notoriety to Quackwatch status. How about that? They've got me listed as one of the people to be aware of on the Quackwatch website. You've got to be kidding me. The hubris of MDs is so overarching that they actually, I've been around these guys for over 2 decades now. Was surrounded with students when I was doing pre-med. I was the only one in the pre-med department at the University of Massachusetts who had any inkling at all of, anything other than being an MD. I was surrounded by these pre-med guys, and I've been surrounded by MDs for most of my life and professionally now for the last 24 years. I know how they think. I know what they're like. And the meat grinder of medical education is so encompassing in every aspect of the education and in every aspect of the clinical experience. The notion is reinforced that if you were not taught it in medical school, it is not valid. If you were not taught it in allopathic, reductionistic, pharmaceutical, and surgical centrist medical school, MD school, it is just not valid. So the vast majority of MDs who come out of conventional medical education actually believe they are so small-minded, and they have been so brainwashed, which is a good term. So we use it too loosely here in the United States, I think, but in this case it's extremely accurate. They have been brainwashed into actually believing that what they're trained in equals the epitome of medical science, when in fact of matter, what they're trained in is one very small piece of the greater pie of medical science. Nobody owns medicine. It should be against the law for MDs to call themselves MDs, medical doctors. They should call themselves ADs, allopathic doctors, because that's what they are. I'm a naturopathic doctor. There are chiropractic doctors. There's a mouthful: chiropractic doctors, osteopathic doctors, homeopathic doctors, etc. MDs are not medical doctors. They don't own medicine. However, they have co-opted that term on purpose in order to convince you that they do in fact own medicine when they don't. They should be called allopathic doctors, or RDs for reductionistic doctors, or PDs for pharmaceutical doctors, right? Pick a term. But whatever term it is, it's not MD, because that's just inaccurate. But nonetheless, the meat grinder of conventional medical education is so encompassing, so overarching, that the doctors come out of it, get their license, and then they start practicing medicine, and they're surrounded by colleagues who all believe the same thing and who are all in the same boat. So, it was easy for the Nazis to convince themselves that they were the master race, because everybody that they surrounded themselves with, all their superior officers, all their underlings, all their support staff, were of the opinion that, guess what, they were the master race. So when you immerse yourself in a culture which believes a particular way, you start to believe that particular way. And this is one of the untalked about problems here in the education of medical professionals in the United States. That they're not taught to be open-minded. They're not taught any perspective. They're taught that it is their way or the highway. And of course, this ridiculous notion, which fuels the monopolization of the medical marketplace, is supported full-fledged 100%. It was actually started by the pharmaceutical industry. It's the pharmaceutical industry that is behind all of this, but they've been doing it for such a long time now, over 100 years, that the average doctor completely misses the relationship. It is just a thing, MD medicine equals pharmaceutical medicine. They don't even think about it as two separate and distinct things. They don't think about it as the master and the monster. But that's what it is. The pharmaceutical industry is the master, and the monster is the MD. You don't believe me? MD-directed medical treatments are the leading cause of death in the United States. They are. 780,000 people a year are killed by MD treatments, and we still go to them. Bayer, the Bayer pharmaceutical company that makes Bayer children's aspirin, was a coalition of German pharmaceutical companies that made the Zyklon B gas that killed the Jews and the Gypsies and everybody else in the concentration camps. And they performed experiments on the members of the concentration camps, got the inmates at the concentration camps to work in the pharmaceutical factories that they built right next to the concentration camps. And yet, even though they committed all of these war crimes, they're allowed to sell your kids children's aspirin. And you don't bat an eyelash. You line up to get it. And whenever that commercial comes on TV, you don't understand the history of that company. You don't understand the evolution of medicine. They are leaning on the fact that we have short attention spans. They are leaning on the fact that you are going to be easily manipulated by their endless cacophony of PR. And it is endless. Open up any newspaper, open up any major monthly or weekly magazine, and what do you see? What are the biggest ads in the newspapers, the biggest ads in the magazines like Time and Newsweek, the most prominent ads, persistent ads on TV? It's all pharmaceutical company ads. It's all pharmaceutical industry all of the time. So much so that in the backs of our minds, we kind of believe that, the pharmaceutical way is the only way. And it is the rare individual that questions it. Most of us only start to question the pharmaceutical way. Most of us only start to question the MD way when we've been treated by the MDs 5, 6, 7, or 8 times unsuccessfully. And then, I guess what? The 8th time is the charm? The 8th time is the tiebreaker? The 8th time, what is it? What's it going to be for you? Are you going to have to have 8 knee replacements until you figure out that it just doesn't work and that there must be a better way? Are you going to have to watch your brothers and your sisters and your parents die from chemotherapy before you understand that there must be a better way? Are you going to have to watch your children be born with autism? 1 out of 80 kids. I mean, how many kids in your community are going to get autism before you just say, hey, wait a minute, something must be wrong? And then when you do say, wait a minute, something must be wrong, they flood you with PR that props up their castles built on sand, and you take it. You believe it because you think that the MD is smarter than you. You think that they're more knowledgeable than you. You think that they're better than you, and they're not. Your MD is a person just like you. He doesn't have a higher IQ than you. Quite frankly, he's more cowardly. Quite frankly, he's more of a conformist. Quite frankly, she is more of a lapdog than they are the alpha male or the alpha female. They're good at taking orders. They're good at following tradition. They're good at manifesting and paying attention to dogma. They're not forward thinkers. They're not open-minded thinkers. They have no self-evaluation. And when their therapeutics fail us, when their therapeutics hurt us, and when their therapeutics kill us, we go right back to them. And every month, we give them our hard-earned money in the form of insurance premiums just to gain access to their ineffective and dangerous treatments. What are we going to do, ladies and gentlemen? What is your breaking point? What is it going to take for you to break through this medical myth, through this cultural myth, and to actually see the MD for what the MD is? Your MD is a shield for the pharmaceutical industry. Your MD, at best, is able to help you recover from trauma, from a handful of infectious diseases, and can help you most of the time when surgery is actually necessary. But ironically, most of the time, surgery is not necessary. The vast majority of times that surgery is necessary is when it comes to trauma. Military field medicine, trauma, ER, medical people. You're in an automobile accident, you're bleeding to death, your spleen's ruptured, or you have a collapsed lung, you have a bullet in your arm, you have a third-degree burn. They can help you with that. But for everything else, bringing your body to an MD is a fool's errand. And if you want to roll those dice, chances are that the therapeutics offered by your MD will hurt you. And if they don't hurt you overtly, they will hurt you covertly. because the treatments don't fix anything. It's rare that the MD's treatment fixes anything. For goodness sake, they can't even fix heartburn. But they can manage it with the little purple pill. They can't fix high blood pressure, but they can manage it with hydrochlorothiazide and blood pressure medicines until they give you type 2 diabetes or some other side effect, and then they'll just give you insulin for that. This is how they think. They give you the pain medication for your arthritis until you need the knee replacement, and then 3 years later when that knee fails, you don't get a refund. You get a new knee. $12,000 more. For them, what do you get? Pain and suffering and another fake knee that's going to fail again in 3 years. And yet they never blame themselves. They never blame their inadequate, pathetic, juvenile, outdated therapeutics. They blame you. Oh, you're obese because your stomach's too big. Or you need your stomach cut out. That's why you're overweight. Oh, you're just lazy. You don't exercise enough. Even though a United Nations report 3 years ago proved there's no relationship between exercise and obesity. It doesn't exist. Oh, you're depressed just because you're depressed. Oh, you just need to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and get back in the game. They are clueless about it, ladies and gentlemen. The best possible thing that you can do in order to secure your health moving forward is to fire your MD. Fire them. The only time I want anybody in this listening audience to frequent an MD is if it's for an emergency medical condition. Stop giving them your money. Stop giving them your business, and stop giving them your respect, because they do not deserve it. Learn medical nutrition instead. Buy Dr. Wallach's books. Buy my book. Get the CDs. Become a Longevity member. Let us show you the way. Let us drag you into the light of science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. We are your best friends in this industry. The hubris of the MD is so breathtaking. There was that article that I was alluding to. I finally got a chance to read the whole thing. I was traveling this weekend giving a lecture in North Carolina, 2 lectures in North Carolina. What a great group down there. The D-Run team and Stan Brown's organization, headed up by Leah Anderson and Kevin Anderson. They're going to really make a big difference in North Carolina, and it's going to trickle out through all of the South, because one of the greatest things about the South is word of mouth. And people in the church communities in the South, once somebody recovers from type 2 diabetes or from obesity or from whatever, word spreads like wildfire. So you better look out, everybody. D-Run and Stan Brown are coming for you. So what I want to say about the Consumer Reports article that, vitamins are dangerous. Number one, vitamins are not dangerous. And if you read between the lines in that article, it says that in the very second paragraph. It says that we don't specifically know if there were any real problems, but there were, 100 and so cases reported over 5 years, but we don't know if any of these were really real. And then they based their whole article on the fact that maybe they were real. Number one. And number two, they interview an MD, and the MD says that we know that prescription medicines are extremely effective physiological agents, and that they can have dramatic impacts on people's health. And you can't say the same thing about vitamins. Vitamins just can't have a positive effect on a pathological disease. I guess they didn't teach him about scurvy in medical school. Scurvy, of course, cured by vitamin C. So in that case, in the case of scurvy, vitamin C does in fact have a very powerful therapeutic action. I guess they also forgot to tell him about rickets. Rickets, of course, is a vitamin D, like David deficiency. If you take vitamin D and you have rickets, the rickets goes away. I guess they forgot to tell him that vitamin D does actually have a strong therapeutic action. Oh, I also guess they forgot to tell him about iron or vitamin B12, both of which eliminate anemia. I guess they just didn't tell him about these things while he was in medical school. See, this is another reflection of the hubris of the allopathic medical profession. Whatever the MD says, we don't question it. So the MD who has no training, no clinical experience, no respect, no appreciation for medical nutrition, tells you stuff about medical nutrition and you believe it. They're the experts. Like, who made the MD the expert on medical nutrition? The only thing the MD should open his mouth about is surgery and pharmaceutical medicine. That's it. That's all they're trained in. They don't know anything else. They don't even know what causes asthma. They know how to manage it. They can talk to you until they're blue in the face about the physiological action of bronchodilators and how that works, but they don't know what causes asthma. $100,000 of medical education, they don't even know that asthma is a simple essential fatty acid deficiency. The MD doesn't know that. MD doesn't know what causes it. Your MD doesn't know what causes arthritis. They can throw pain medications at it. If the pain medications don't kill you, like Enbrel did, well, you just wait till you have the knee operation. And they can tell you all about how the titanium joints work and how to attach them to the skeletal structure of your body and the anti-rejection medication you have to take and all of this. They can tell you about all the drugs you need to take down to the T about how those things work and how they interact with each other and which ones to take and which ones not to take. And they can tell you all about that. But they don't know what causes arthritis. And yet we continue to give them our money. It blows my mind how often and how much we genuflect at their altar, when really we shouldn't. We should just fire them all immediately. We're going to go right to the phones. Pat's calling in with a question about breathing or with breathing problems. Pat, you're live. Welcome aboard.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. I am suffering from diarrhea and loose stools. It's been going on for about a week because I've been on a program where I've taken stuff 3 times a day. So it's giving me loose stools, and now I'm having a problem breathing, labored breathing, and a cough that goes with it. So I want to know what you thought.
All right. Have you had breathing problems historically? Is the breathing a problem with you in your life?
Yes, I have had chronic bronchitis.
You have? Okay. Have you ever been diagnosed with asthma or given an inhaler?
I've been given an inhaler, not diagnosed with asthma.
Okay. And have you ever had a negative reaction to shrimp or a lobster or any type of shellfish?
No.
Have you ever eaten that stuff?
Love it.
You love it? Okay, good.
I do.
Yeah, it's pretty tasty, isn't it? I grew up on an island off the coast of New England, man, so we know all about that kind of stuff. I used to go scuba diving for lobsters, for goodness sake. How about that?
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky me is right. All right, so the first thing, the loose stools, the most common cause of that is drinking the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, that red liquid powder. I'm assuming you're taking that, right?
Tropical Plus because of that. And
right,
I'm drinking it over an hour, hour and a half.
You are, and how much water do you dilute it with?
About 20 ounces.
And you drink it over the course of an hour?
Yes, and
you
sometimes
do that three times a day, and you're still getting loose stool from it?
Yes.
Son of a gun. All right, so...
I have started putting orange juice in it to flavor it.
That's not a problem. That's not a problem at all.
Okay.
Ever had eczema in your life?
I have a few skin problems, like I've got bumps across my forehead that never seem to go away. Mm-hmm. But not eczema per se.
And do you still have your appendix?
Yes.
Okay.
No gallbladder, though.
Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. So when we dilute the products, whatever product it is, the multivitamin product, in this case the Tropical Plus, when we dilute that and drink it slowly and we're still getting loose stool, that is a drop-dead diagnosis of advanced tissue destruction in the small intestine, which some people call celiac disease. So this means that your small intestine has been compromised by decades of eating all of the wrong food, and so it's really difficult for your small intestine to absorb anything, even, a very dilute nutritional supplement like this. Now, your body's ability to absorb stuff is in direct proportion to your body's ability to digest stuff. And there's two things that have to happen here. You know, your teeth start the digestion process, and then your food in your mouth mixes with saliva, and the saliva starts to chemically digest your food, and then your food drops into your stomach, and, you know, your stomach's a great big bag of acid, and that digests your food a little bit more, and then that empties into your small intestine, where it mixes with bile from the gallbladder and pancreatic enzymes from your pancreas and a whole bunch of other digestive enzymes. Now, if you don't have a gallbladder anymore, then the bile isn't getting to your small intestine in the amounts that it should, and that in and of itself is going to make it hard for you to digest things, and the harder it is to digest things, the harder it is to absorb things. And did you have gallstones, or were you just having pain in your gallbladder? Why did they remove it?
Fairly significant size ones.
Stones?
And that was stones, yes.
Yeah, okay. So gallstones are caused by a funky liver, all right? So, you know, again, as Sherlock Holmes would say, the game is afoot here. So first things first, let's not overlook the obvious, Pat. You need to be gluten-free. So are you gluten-free?
Absolutely.
Okay, good girl. And how long have you been doing that?
Probably about 4 or 5 months.
Okay. So given the fact that you are gluten-free, and I can tell just by the tone of your voice that you're compliant and that you're not cheating. You know, some people, they'll cheat and they don't even know that they cheat, but other people have it dialed in. And I can tell just by the tone of your voice that you've got it dialed in. So given the fact that you've dialed the gluten-free stuff in, and you're taking the Tropical Plus in a dilute fashion, and you're still getting loose stools from it, there's only two possibilities. One possibility is that you need to add to your program a digestive enzyme which replaces the stuff that your gallbladder can't give you anymore because they took it out. And so you can try that first and see if just by adding the digestive enzyme the loose stools go away, and that product is called Ultimate Enzyme. Are you taking that right now, Ultimate Enzymes?
I'm taking 4 a day.
4 of the Ultimate Enzymes a day?
Now, the Digest Plus.
Yeah, no, I want you to take, it's a product called Ultimate Enzymes.
And I did take that, and I did switch to the Digest Plus because I was having bloating and noisy stomach and that kind of thing. So you think the Ultimate Digest is better?
Well, it has bile in it, ox bile.
Okay.
And it's the only one that doesn't, and that's more or less a mandatory supplement for people to take who have no gallbladder. We have a number of different digestive enzymes, but that's the best one. Now, if it was giving you cause for concern, then you're taking too much of it. So instead of taking 2 twice a day, just take 1 twice a day, and that should be fine. And the magic to that supplement, as with any other digestive enzyme, is you got to take it at the beginning of the meal. Not in the middle or at the end, at the very beginning of the meal. What would be better would be 10 to 15 minutes before you eat anything, all right?
Okay.
All right, now, given the fact that you've been doing that, or, you know, you were taking that and then you switched out, I mean, your body has the digestive stuff in there, so this means that your system has been so compromised by years of eating all the wrong food, and you didn't know that you were eating the wrong food. The only reason that you were eating the wrong food is because you went to the wrong doctor. So, you know, send your doctor a bill for 40 years of pain and suffering. That's what I would do, just for giggles. You know they're not going to pay it, but I would just send it to them anyway. Send it to your general family practitioner and say, look, you knucklehead, I've been following your advice and I'm getting worse. Here's a bill. Pay it or I'm going to send my lawyers after you. All right, you know, and of course that's a non-starter, but it will at least give you something to do in your free time. We got to start hitting these people back. And I'm serious as a heart attack. I am as serious as a heart attack. Now, the other thing, what this means is that you need to switch out from the Tropical Plus to something else. And the next thing on the list is the solid capsules called they just changed the name on this product. It's called the Anti-Aging Daily Premium Pack. The Anti-Aging Daily Premium Pack, right? the Anti-Aging Daily Premium Pack. It's a box, and it comes with little individually wrapped, cellophane wrapped, there's like 5 or 6 different vitamin capsules in the little cellophane. And you do 1 cellophane wrap per 100 pounds of body weight per day. So to round out a program with that product to give you all 90 essential nutrients, the only thing you would need to add to it would be the liquid calcium. So if you switch from the Tropical Plus to the Anti-Aging Daily Premium Packs and either the Osteo FX Plus or the Cal Toddy, then you're good to go. Plus, of course, the digestive enzyme. So, but really, more to the point, Pat, this means that you, of everybody on the planet, really needs to be 100% dialed in with the gluten-free diet, because that stuff has hammered your system. Otherwise, you wouldn't be having the trouble that you're having even with an extremely dilute dose of Tropical Plus, right? I mean, there's a reason for this. It's not because of the Tropical Plus, because tens of thousands of people take that every day with no adverse effects. It's because your system can't absorb it. What do you have, a voodoo curse? No. You have a bad gene? No. Is it because you're getting older? No. Is it because you have a stomach? No. You know, it's because for decades you were eating all the wrong food all the time and you didn't know it, and your system has suffered because of it. So now the good news is, when you continue the gluten-free diet and you dial in a supplement program that does not give you diarrhea, I'm guessing maybe 9 months from now, your system will have healed itself to such an extent that you'll be able to go back to the Tropical Plus or to the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and not get diarrhea. Another thing that you can do to support and promote the digestive tract's ability to fix itself would be the Flora FX, the Ultimate Flora FX. A couple of those before bed every night would help the digestive tract to heal itself. And it would help the digestive tract to heal itself faster. And another product is called the Maqui Plus, M-A-Q-U-I Plus. That's a superfruit plus aloe vera. And aloe vera is extremely healing to the intestinal tract. You know, now that I'm saying it out loud, that would be the first thing that I would go to. I would start using the Maqui Plus on a daily basis if it's inside the budget, because the aloe vera in that will help the intestinal tract to fix itself, and which is what we want to do in your case, because that's your weakest link. Does all that make sense, Pat?
Pack.
Does it all make sense?
Yes, that's what I'm asking. In addition to the daily pack,
yeah,
the Maqui Plus and the daily pack?
Yeah, the Maqui Plus, the daily pack, and the white liquid calcium. And that's, you got 2 choices there. That's either the Osteo FX Plus or the liquid Cal Toddy. I prefer the Cal Toddy. And
that's what I'm doing. And, you know, I'm the sickle cell patient, so is that going to still help my blood count to go up?
Well, I talked to Dr. Wallach at length the other day about sickle cell because I was giving a lecture in Atlanta, and we were expecting a representative, or North Carolina, we were expecting a representative from the Sickle Cell Foundation to be there. The secret sauce with sickle cell is selenium. The sickle cell, the red blood cell, the wall of the red blood cell deforms and loses its structural integrity so that the cell takes on a sickled shape instead of a round shape when you don't have enough selenium. It's a selenium deficiency. Now,
selenium. I'm doing 6 a day.
How many? So you're good. So if you do the anti-aging daily pack, the selenium, the Maqui Plus, and the white liquid calcium, you're good to go.
Okay.
And look, man, just, you know, you've already experienced results, right? So the trick here, because of the weak link of your system being the small intestine, at some point in your recovery from this program, you're going to wake up, and it's going to be like somebody flipped a switch, and you're going to feel 1,000 times better than you did the day before. That's what happens when the digestive tract is in trouble, because it will fix itself slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly, and then all of a sudden you wake up and boom, You're absorbing nutrients like a rock star. Well, not like a rock star, but like an Olympic athlete. Well, not like an Olympic athlete, but like somebody who's been on longevity forever. You're going to love how you feel. So stick the program out. Switch to the daily premium packs, the anti-aging premium packs, and give me a call in a couple of weeks. But for you, for the sickle cell, the selenium is not to be neglected. Reading all about in the news today, you know, it's every couple of weeks they roll out the old obesity saw, right? Oh, you know, they've figured out now that even though obesity is the 33%, one-third of American adults have obesity. Now they're breaking it down state by state to see if they can't figure out which states have the greater amount of obesity, and maybe they're going to have a fat tax or something stupid like this, right? Maybe they're going to, institute discounted lap band surgeries for people in these states. Maybe they're going to introduce reduced fees for prescription speed or prescription amphetamines for the people who live in these states. So who knows what they're going to do, because the MDs are completely colorblind when it comes to their understanding and treatment of obesity. And if you are dealing with obesity, it's your doctor's fault. I know how to fix obesity. My colleagues know how to fix obesity. Ranchers, livestock farmers know how to fix obesity. Your medical doctor doesn't. And instead of blaming himself or herself, instead of blaming the profession, instead of thinking, well, maybe we should do something differently or take a different tact, they blame you. Oh, yeah, you're obese because you don't exercise, even though a United Nations study published 3 years ago now, proved that there's no relationship between obesity and exercise. It doesn't exist. Their report clearly showed that the reason that people gain weight is not because they don't exercise, it's because they don't feel full and they eat too many calories. Now, why don't you feel full? Because your body has wisdom. Your body knows that it needs 90 essential nutrients. Your body has a fuel gauge, a nutrient gauge, if you will, inside of it. And when you start to run on nutrient fumes, and that fuel gauge starts running on E, your central nervous system freaks out, because it knows your liver is going to explode. It knows your joints are going to explode. It knows your heart's going to explode. It knows something's going to break if you continue to be nutrient deprived. And so your central nervous system, if you will, your being, your body, your mind-body, your body-mind makes you eat in the desperate attempt to fill that nutritional tank up. But the food that you're eating doesn't have what you need. And furthermore, most of the foods that you eat hurt you, and they interfere with your body's ability to digest nutrients, absorb nutrients. And if you're on a salt-restricted diet, the stomach acid in your stomach is so weak that you couldn't digest, chicken soup. And this is where we're at. You're obese because your doctor's an idiot, quite frankly. Your doctor is an out-of-touch, cowardly, monotheistic, dogmatic dunderhead. Basically a shill to the pharmaceutical company who hasn't had an original thought in their brain for 100 years. Quite frankly, the average age of death of an MD is 53 or 54 years old, I believe. So they're lucky if they make it to 53. That's an MD with a general family practice, and you're going to take their advice about how to be healthy? There was nobody in Auschwitz that was overweight. If you don't eat, you lose weight. The only thing that makes you eat too many calories is your body is nutritionally starved, and your body is making you eat. But the food that you eat doesn't have the nutrients you need, so you eat 3,000 calories at Olive Garden, and 2 hours later you're hungry again. And then your doctor tells you, oh, it's because you have a stomach. We have to just cut your stomach out, and that'll fix it. Give me a break. How do you fix it? You fix it with the Healthy Start Pack. One Healthy Start Pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month fills your nutritional tank up. You stop craving foods. You sit down at Olive Garden. You eat 600 calories and take the other 2,400 calories home in a doggy bag. You lose about a pound a week on this program. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't know what you don't know. And when it comes to your health, The stuff that you don't know will heal you or kill you. The best possible thing you can do is fire your MD now and hop on board our train, because our train is the health train. Check it out at drglidden.com, or better yet, fireyourmdnow.com. I look forward to hearing from you next time we're live. I'm Dr. Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health. Over and out.